The Pixel 9 series phones are finally, I think, the realization of Google's plan and dream for the last couple of years. We are finally in basically an all-tensor world. We're waiting for Android 15 to get here. I'm going to talk more about that later. But the big thing is with the Tensor 4, fourth generation of the Tensor chip, we're finally into all tensor territory. Like there's no more Pixel phones out there beyond the Pixel 6 that are going to be getting Android 15. I was reading something the other day. Android 15 will roll out to Pixel 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's going to finally leave the 5 series, 5A, 5G in the dust. There will be no more Snapdragons that are going to be getting Android updates. Now, they're still going to get security patches for a couple of them because it was 5-year security patches. But yeah, we're beyond the point where we move into that. We're all on board with Tensor chip. And I think the Tensor 4 has been pretty good. It's been good with heat, been good with battery life. It's 3.15 gigahertz now. It's just over 3 gigahertz, or I believe 3.15. And we're kind of at the end of a road here and going to move on to the next chapter once we get to the Pixel 10. There's a lot of people, regardless of how good the Pixel 8 might have been, regardless how good the Pixel 9 series phones seem to be so far, this is the last Pixel phone that's going to have a Tensor chip made by Samsung. We're going to be moving next year with the Pixel 10 to the TSMC. They're the better chip maker, and they're the ones that make all the Snapdragon chips, and they make chips for a lot of other people too. So this is going to be an interesting platform to evaluate and then see how this goes, because not only are we going to be all Tensor, all Pixel phones, but at the same time, we're moving into this world where we have 7 years of security patches, 7 years of operating system updates, and the first one will be Android 15. Now, Android 15 is probably going to be here in October, and I've seen some articles like, oh, Google confirms this. Google didn't really confirm anything. From what I was reading in the articles, it seemed like some inside person told someone who told someone else, who then made a bunch of articles saying, oh, Google confirmed it. Look, we've been wondering this question ever since ever since the Pixel 9 came out. We were waiting to see if it came with Android 15, but the word on the street was it wasn't gonna be there. And well, yeah, it's probably gonna be here in October. Why? Because that's when Android 14 launched. That's when Android, I think 13 launched. They all launch around September, October timeframe, most notably with Android 14 coming out with the Pixel 8 series last year. Well, what happened? Like, where did Google go wrong? And I don't necessarily that they went wrong anywhere. And I actually am glad that they put out a phone with a good working operating system. It's been very seamless, it's been very efficient, and it's been very polished. And that's something we've needed for a long time. Maybe it was slower in development on the Android 15 side. Maybe there were some bugs. Maybe they just wanted to run it through the quality assurance process for another month or so, because we're right on the precipice of September. September is just a few days away, and then we're only going to be a month removed from Android 15. So I fully expect Android 15 to be here in October, but it does raise like some other questions too, because are we going to get a quarterly feature drop in September? Because we're supposed to, because we got it in December. So then January, February, March, April, May, June, and then July, August, September. So what's going to happen in September? Are we going to get the quarterly feature drop? Or are they just going to wait till October and give us Android 15, which is what they did last year? They skipped on it. Actually, Android 14, I believe, was supposed to come out in September last year, and then nothing, crickets, didn't hear anything. And then it showed up with Android 14 in October, which came with new features and stuff. But it was very interesting to me whenever they announced the Pixel 9 series phones, because we saw the keynote, we saw them up there talking, and they didn't really talk about any new features. They didn't really talk about Android 15 at all. It's something that just kept very, very quiet and under the radar. And I guess they're just like, oh yeah, cool story, guys. But you need to answer some questions, because with the Pixel 9 launching with Android 14, are they counting Android 15 as a operating system update? Is that going to be one of the versions that we get, or are they just going to say, okay, we should have launched it with Android 15, we'll start with that, and then you'll get 7, right? So we'll see. But it's not necessarily 7 versions, it's 7 years. They say 7 years of operating system updates, 7 years of security patches. So depending on when those phones come out, if they keep this earlier launch time frame with August, yeah, it could be one of the 7 years of operating system updates, and kind of like a play on words to where they don't actually have to give us that other one when the new phone comes out. So who knows? We'll have to see how that all pans out. But this is going to be the big test for the Google platform. How good is Android 15 going to be? How much is it going to get supported? How quickly do they get these rolled out? How many how reliable are they with the quarterly feature drops? I kind of look at this as a little bit of a clean slate because as we've seen with the phone so far and what I've seen in my testing, what I've seen as I've been doing research and stuff, most people seem to be having a pretty positive experience. Standby time, I've been having great standby time. I've been hearing good feedback from folks. And then we've been talking about things like battery life. Battery life has been excellent. And then the overall process seems to be pretty smooth. So I'm curious to see what we do with Android 15. Do they double down and give us some more AI features? Because AI was a little on the underwhelming side when it came to the launch. They didn't really talk about much at all. And it's like, okay, yeah, you have the Pixel Studio, you can make some pictures and stuff, and you have the Add Me feature with the camera. But by and large, there really just wasn't a huge emphasis on that. So it'll be interesting to see as we move forward. But I do have mostly positive things to say about the phone. Yes, I don't like it has 128 gigabytes of storage. There's a few other things I don't care about. The portrait mode still needs some polishing. I took quite a few portrait shots the other day, and it just like it took my ear off in one of the photos, just because the edge detection wasn't all that great. And portrait shots have historically, at least the last couple of years, had some issues with that. So I think Google needs to kind of work on that, maybe a little bit more refinement. Maybe we'll get an update with the camera app whenever Android 15 comes out. But I've been very, very happy with the hardware. And overall, I've had a really good experience with it so far. So I have no complaints there. I bought the phone myself. I got it on the day that it came out. And we're still waiting on two more phones to come out, which are going to be launched on September the 4th. So we're waiting on the Pixel 9 Pro, which is the smaller version. So if you've been out there waiting, the wait's almost over unless you haven't ordered one because, well, a lot of these pre-order dates and the release dates got pushed back really far. So it seems like Google tried to play it kind of conservative this go around. And it's not like normally you could just buy one and go pick it up at the store. All the phones came out at the same time. And they've kind of pulled a playbook from Apple where it's like, okay, we'll release these two models, and then a couple weeks later, we'll release these two models. So it does seem like logistically, maybe they just didn't make enough phones. Maybe demand was higher than they expected. I'm not sure what the case is, but we're going to see the second half of the Pixel 9 portfolio launch in just a couple of days, and that'll be exciting too. Now, I haven't got a Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I have not bought one yet. And I'm still on the fence on whether I'm going to buy one because I was very turned off by the experience with the Pixel Fold, how they treated it, and what they did with the phone, or the lack of thereof of what they've done with the phone. But I think for people looking at the Pixel 9 platform, look at the Tensor G4, you look at what a lot of the things have to offer, I think it'll probably be a overall better experience than the original Pixel Fold. But we're still looking at $1,800, still a Tensor chip, and there are still some limitations there. I'm not crazy about the camera. I don't think they're pro level. And then you take a look, no vapor chamber and a couple other things. But anyway, I'll talk more about the Pixel 9 Pro Fold later in detail. But I wanted to talk about this because, one, I get a lot of people saying, hey, where's Android 15? So there you have it. It should be here in October. I fully expect it to be here about the second week of October. We'll play the wait and see mode. We'll have to wait and see if we're going to get a quarterly feature drop because, yeah, it's supposed to come out in August. Last one, or September. Last one was June. So July, August, September. We're in that quarter. And I think they're just going to punt the football down the road again until we get to October and then give us Android 15. So I think they need to take some special care with that because this will be 2 years in a row where instead of a feature drop, they just gave us the new operating system update, which of course comes with new features, but that's not a feature drop. That's a new operating system update. But anyway, like I said, I've had a good experience with the Pixel 9 Pro XL so far. Hopefully you have. Hopefully if you're still waiting on one, it gets to you soon and you don't have any issues with it. But from an outside-in standpoint, kind of like 5,000 feet, this is where they've been trying to get for several years, right? Google makes Android, they make the Pixel phones, and they've been trying to compete by making, and or at least having somebody else make their own hardware to their specifications and kind of do what Apple's been doing. Build out the ecosphere, have a unified chip platform, because one of the things that was holding them back for a long time was, okay, we got to prioritize and optimize for the Tensor chips, but we also have to optimize for the Snapdragon 765. We also have to optimize for this chip and all that other stuff. So this finally gets us where we've been trying to get for a long time. All Tensor, all Pixel phone with a Tensor, and then the latest version of Android and the new product lineup. That will be kind of sealing the deal and closing the door on hardware and what we can expect with the end of 2024. But I wanted to talk about that stuff because, one, I was thinking about it. I thought it was interesting. And I talked about this before years ago. I'm like, one day we're going to be all Tensor, and we're fixing to be there. We're very, very close to the all Tensor world. And Well, it'll be a chapter of the Google Pixel phones that we can look back on, reflect, and I think there's been a lot of lessons learned. There've been a lot of changes from the the Pixel 6 with the Tensor 1 all the way to the Tensor 4, and this one, they fixed the battery life issues, they fixed the heat issues, and they fixed some of the other stuff that went with that too. So I'm very happy about that. But yeah, network performance, battery life, and heat. Those were the three big things I've talked about for years. It seems like they fixed those, added some more things. I really like the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. I'm really enjoying the selfie camera on here is top notch. I recorded a video the other day, if you watched it, and I talked about how I recorded the entire video in my car with the built-in microphone, built-in selfie camera, and it turned out really, really good. Heck, I may even try to replace my iPhone with it for recording my videos. That's what I record my videos on, is the iPhone. I don't have some big fancy camera apparatus that costs $5 million. I tried some of those things out. I tried the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K, all that stuff. I tried other cameras, and I just really enjoy using this way, the simplicity, the ease of use, being able to airdrop it to my MacBook. It's been something that's worked really, really well for me. So, but there are limitations to that. And I got to say, I was really impressed as well with how the video experience went when I recorded on the Pixel 9 Pro. So they've definitely bumped up the video, definitely bumped up the microphone audio quality, all that stuff. So kudos to Google for getting some of that stuff right and for making some big changes. And I think this phone, I think it's going to hold up well this year. And again, we have another big thing coming up, the iPhone. So the iPhone 16 series launch is going to be, what, September the 9th, I think? So we're just over a week away from seeing that. And Google did finally listen, like I told them in my videos for years, get out before the iPhone. If you want to sell these phones, get them in people's hands, in front of their eyeballs before the iPhone comes out. So that way people can have a tough decision to make. You don't want your product to show up after the beloved fan favorite shows up and then people go, I'll just get the new iPhone. You want to get this out there, be aggressive, have good sales, and have a good product. And we'll see how the sales go. But I think they've got a good product on their hands, and we'll see how that goes so far. But that's all I got in this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, gripes, complaints, all that stuff, go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and a little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.